Morning everyone. So today is the beginning of marking period grade conferences. Honestly, although I love talking to the kids about their learning, I really hate having these conferences. The bottom line is I've been pushing and pursuing this no grades classroom for a long time, and the fact that I do have to give a grade at the end of it all feels counterproductive and also really bothers me quite a lot. The bottom line is that if I'm going to be valuing kids and their learning, I should not have to quantify how they're doing at any point, except maybe at the very end of a year, at the end of a learning, when we're moving from one year to the next and they've had an entire year to accomplish what they need to accomplish. But that's not how it works in New York City, and the fact that I'm able to do what I do for the most part is still a gift, so I do it. About a week before vacation started, I was able to put out my Google form, which essentially gives students the opportunity to start thinking about their learning from the semester. There's a bunch of standards that they get to click off. Which ones are they meeting or exceeding? Which ones do they feel they're still working on? And then I get this great spreadsheet, which I'm going to turn the camera around so that you guys could start to see the way it looks. Now, over here, you see, how do you think you're doing in this class? And then you have some kids who said, personally, I feel I have made a lot of improvements since the beginning of the school year. I've picked up my pace in writing articles, and I'm capable of writing several articles at once. For the past week or two, I have been writing and revising about 4 articles. I have also tried for a different section, opinion, since it is something that I have never written for, and I wanted to take a risk, with M's, meaning with proficiency. That Ms. Sackstein once mentioned during class. I wrote where all the school money was being deposited, and she picked some really excellent stories to sort of write about. And she talked about specific projects that she feels shows her level of learning, and then unfortunately they have to grade themselves, and then this is where my conversation comes in. I read what they wrote in the grade they would give themselves category, and after that there's one thing they'd like to work on, and this is what the basis of our conversation ends up being. And since this is now the second major conference that we've had to do this for, they go a little faster. So even Kay here even says the grade in quotation marks I would give myself as an A. I've been on top of my work and have been more capable of writing several stories. I've also taken different approaches on story ideas. For example, for the Black Friday article, I wrote about its differences from the 1900s rather than writing about what happened on this Black Friday or the deals that were being offered. I've also written stories for different sections. So she does a good job of talking about the different standards, although maybe not naming them specifically. She's going into the different skill set that she's showing. And then she talks about something she wants to write about in the future, which she hasn't tackled yet, which is a community story. So as I go through, what's going to happen is I read these things, their comments. I call them up to the desk, we sit down, we have a conversation. There's no need for them to reshare what they've already shared with me. It's just a question of them articulating. The folks who have a different idea of where they belong in the class, I think, is definitely something that ends up taking a little more time, because if somebody believes they are mastering something but they're really not, then I need to start doing a little bit of a line of questioning. Not me saying, I think you're off here, but rather, you mentioned that you're mastering this skill or this skill, but I'm not really sure where you're seeing that specifically, and then the burden of proof kind of rests on them. And sometimes they just, they kind of smile at me and they said, if I was going to go for it, then go for it. My classes are predominantly 11th and 12th grade. I have a junior newspaper class, which is, Kay is in my junior newspaper class. This is their first year doing newspapers, so they're, I would say, beginner newspaper students. And then I have a senior newspaper class, no problem, Ryan. And my senior newspaper classes are that's where my editors are, that's where everybody is. And so they have been doing this now for a couple of years. And some of those students have also actually been in other classes with me at different times. So they've had me for a few years. And then I also have an AP Lit class. The AP Lit class is definitely a little bit more intensive. There are 34 kids in that class, and I have about 4 days in class to get these conferences done. I will likely be calling kids in the morning and during lunch to finish that up, but they're working on their Gatsby projects right now, so since everybody's in group work anyway, it's a really good opportunity for me to be calling kids aside and then only putting out fires. So if I could get through maybe 6 or 7 kids a period, then I could definitely be okay by getting it all done by the time my quote-unquote grades are due. Otherwise, I'm certain that I will be writing about this week, because this situation is, like I said, it's always a challenge for me, but it's definitely a really great learning opportunity for me to spend time with the students and really hear what they have to say about their learning, and also a good opportunity for me to practice that non-judgment that I'm always talking about. Like, I feel like there's a justice mindset that teachers have where we believe kids are at a certain level for a variety of different reasons. Whether or not they are accurate reasons is irrelevant. But sometimes we have a biased situation when a kid sits down next to us and we think we know how well they think they're doing, and they're able to actually espouse a great deal more than we necessarily give them credit for. And if somebody asks me for a B+ and I don't really see it, I need to hear them out, and I need to be as unbiased as possible when I'm listening, and sometimes that's really challenging for me, and it's something that I work on, and it's definitely something that I try to give kids the benefit of the doubt, because really, if I'm going to tell you the grade doesn't matter, the grade really can't matter. I can't get all twisted up about the fact that somebody I didn't think deserved a certain grade ended up doing that anyway. So anyway, getting ready for today. It's going to be busy. I'm excited for it. I'm going through the spreadsheets now, kind of reading their feedback so that I'm prompted in a better, more efficient way, so that I don't have to read it when they come and sit down with me. And hopefully it all goes as planned. I will report back later in the day. Hope everybody has a great Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Yes, it's Wednesday. Have a super duper day, everybody. Bye.